Ladies and gentlemen, Denmark has deployed F-16 fighter jets to Greenland, to a space base within the country as part of a uptick in increased military surveillance of the island. Greenland is insinuating they want to fight the United States. If the US attempts a takeover, it's not going to go very well for them. We want to do this diplomatically. And look, they don't want to give up the island. But I mean, the people of Greenland don't even want to be a part of Denmark. But either way, let's take a look at this article. Denmark deploys F-16s to Greenland, seriously. As part of increased Danish military presence on Greenland, RDAF F-16s deployed to Kangerlussuaq on the island's west coast to visit a space base. Two Royal Danish Air Force F-16 AMs made a short 2-hour visit to Greenland's space base in June of 2025 to meet personnel and get to know their work there. And so this is part of the increased military surveillance after it came out, and this is with all the European NATO countries, after it came out that Trump said, yeah, we're going to have to acquire it for the safety and we want to help the people of Greenland. They've been losing it, and they said, well, France is going to send troops. Now Denmark is deploying F-16s. Are they insinuating they want to fight the United States if we attempt an invasion of Greenland, really? After everything we've done for NATO? And see, this is the problem, and even you look where Greenland is, I mean, it has been determined based off of its geographical footprint. Yes, it is within North American sphere of influence. It's within U.S. sphere of influence. Yes, Denmark did colonize Greenland, also with Norway. I don't know why Norway doesn't demand it back, but I mean, because if we're talking about 300 years ago they controlled it, well, actually they were part of it was a union with Norway. So why wouldn't Norway also have the rights to it? But the point of it is here, we'll take a look at this article, marking sovereignty and presence, sharing images on X, capturing two F-16s inside the Challenger aircraft. It says Danish F-16s are currently in Greenland. They want to be a part of the Danish Armed Forces permanent sovereignty enforcement of the kingdom and Danish Armed Force increased presence in Greenland. Quote, gaining experience with fighter aircraft operations in the Arctic. It's also worth noting that the deployment comes amid Trump's ambitions of annexing Greenland. And so this is obvious a ploy to where they're trying to flex, I guess, in a way. They're trying to flex their muscles against the United States. Denmark, they came out and said that they wanted to give a little sweetener deal to Greenland, which they already should have done. It shouldn't have needed. See, Greenland should be thanking the United States. We're making them a wanted commodity now. And now they're getting more offers, and now Denmark's like, well, we feel very threatened that the United States is going to annex you. And then people are like, well, they can't just annex Greenland. That's not how it works. Well, yeah, it actually kind of is based on where Greenland is located and our military size versus Denmark's military size. We probably could just straight up annex Greenland, but we don't want to do that because we're nice people. So that's why we're trying to go diplomatically, and that's why Trump has now put forth a propaganda campaign within Greenland. And I mean, obviously right now it hasn't worked, but the point is that once the people of Greenland know that we're going to be offering so much better than what Denmark can provide, and again, Denmark is now offering, oh, we're going to give you more. We want to do some type of mining contract with you. It's come out that Greenland, they don't want to be a part of a major mining operation. That's what they say. And it's like, we're not going to have environmental mining problems and refinement zones near population centers. That's not where this would be located. So it's not a big issue. This is a major island. So it's important to understand that. But this is just more, Denmark is really obsessed with Greenland. They want to keep it. They know that they have the European Union on their side. And so they've got all this propaganda against the United States. And we're seen as the big bad bully when the people of Greenland do want to be independent of Denmark. I mean, that's come out in the numbers and in the recent election that they had in terms of the two top parties that won. So this is just more of the same from Denmark. It's more escalation. They want to keep Greenland. We get it. Let's work something out. We'll give you $20 billion. this is a big part of your, I mean, you know, this is a big thing for Denmark, and we want to help them. But these countries, they don't want to cooperate right now. This is how it is with these European countries in the TDS. You know, in 2009, if Obama came out and said, it makes the most sense, it's within U.S. sphere of influence, we want Greenland, we want to protect them, we need rare earth access and refinement centers because right now China has a full monopoly over it, the European Union would say that's the smartest thing I ever heard. So you see how the difference is there. And it's like, well, Trump's this fascist. No, you don't know the whole story of Greenland. You don't. This is a North American territory. It's understandable that Trump would want this. At least we need to have some type of mining agreement. We already have a military base there. It's the same thing with Panama. We do make all this sacrifice. We build an entire canal that, for its time, was extremely technologically advanced in the early 1900s. And then by the year 19, or I guess it would have been the U.S. finally lost control of it in like 2000, we don't control any of it. I mean, we're getting some raw deals. We protect Greenland from Nazi Germany, and we don't get any say after that. I mean, we do technically have influence on the island because we have a military base. But the point of it is we want Greenland as a U.S. territory, but how do we massage this and make this work without getting the European powers upset? Does it even matter? Maybe we should just do it and give them an ultimatum. You want us to remain in NATO? We need Greenland. And you know what? Trump has had a good relationship now with a lot of these European countries after that NATO summit meeting that they had, where Trump spoke very fondly of Ukraine, supplying them with Patriot missile defense systems. And the European countries were like, yes, you're the daddy, you're the god. And so now they're even admitting it. But the question is will Trump be able to get Greenland with this potentially better relationship we have now with the European powers under Trump? I don't know if that's the case. We've also got this. Greenland is getting more U.S. visitors. They're increasing their tourism. Now we've got nonstop flights from Newark, New Jersey to the capital of Greenland. So now they're doing nonstop flights from the United States to Greenland as part of a normalization process, and because Greenland wants increased tourism. And Greenland says, well, we don't want it to be a mining capital, but we want U.S. tourism, even though Trump is extremely disliked among our people. That's what they say. And so, you know, this is more of a normalization thing when it comes to, you know, adding Greenland to nonstop flights, everything. It's a small step. But we understand that when it comes to acquiring Greenland, this is, if you want to do it diplomatically, if you want to do it fair, there's a lot of levers at play. And it's almost like you need to utilize your biggest leverage strength you have, which is the overall size of the U.S. military, by saying, well, listen, we're going to leave NATO if you don't allow us to take over Greenland. And at that point, I mean, because it's like, well, technically Greenland is a proxy of NATO, it's a proxy of the EU, whether or not Article 5 would commence, I highly doubt it. If the United States took over, I'm not even sure. I mean, I don't see how Denmark or France or the United Kingdom, who people say, well, they've got a treaty dating back to when the United States took the Virgin Islands, and that, oh, if Denmark wants to sell Greenland to the United States, it would have to go through the United Kingdom, which I think we have a good relationship with the United Kingdom, and Trump has a good relationship right now with Starmer. After that trade deal, I mean, they were the first ones to work out a trade deal with us. So there's some interesting context in terms of that, but I don't think the UK really has any governance power over the situation right now with Greenland, Denmark, and the United States, because that's really what this is. And they loop in all the other European powers. You could even maybe loop in Canada, although if Canada went against the United States, that would be very stupid of them. But we know Canada is a lot more, in terms of politics, a lot similar, more similar to the European Union countries than it is to the United States. That's why they talk about Canada joining the European Union. Whether or not that's serious, the reason is because of how their voter base is more liberal and comparable to many of the European countries. So the way I see this situation with the increased presence of the Denmark F-16s, they're trying to tell the United States, and remember they sent remember when it came out that Denmark sent a dog sled team up there? I mean, this is what we have to deal with. they want to try and show that we can't just go on and secure the island, but I don't see how there would be any. Where is the battle for Greenland coming from? It doesn't exist. And I wouldn't want it to happen anyways. It would be very unpopular for Trump. That's why the whole idea is, well, maybe Trump will do this during the lame duck period, which would be in 2028. Whether or not that happens, I mean, that's a while away. Trump is kind of chipping away at it, but unfortunately, it seems we've gone backwards, at least in the propaganda game. Because when Don Jr. visited, there were a bunch of people ready to meet him. When Vance visited, they declined everything. And the workers and the citizens of Greenland said, no, we're not interested. And that's through EU propaganda. And that's through them not realizing, the offers that we can make them. And to me, I think people are just overreacting to this significantly, calling Trump a fascist. Obviously, it's completely ridiculous. We could have just kept Greenland for ourselves in 1946. Instead, we gave it back to Denmark and offered, I mean, what would have Denmark done at that? We offered them $100 million in gold for the island. They declined it. We were very peaceful. We were very calm about it after defending the island. We have a military presence up there. That certainly helps Greenland in terms of being, deterring anyone from trying to take over. The big issue for the United States comes down to, and this would be like the idea in terms of the excuse to take it over, potential Russian or Chinese presence. Remember, Putin came out 2 months ago and said, yeah, Trump wants it. I agree. He should be able to get it. This is how it works. And I mean, look at what they did to Crimea. And look, I'm not saying what they did to Crimea was good, but it's mainly Russian speaking. It was previously part of Russia. So you could actually argue Greenland was it is a false equivalency because obviously they had Crimea for a lot longer than we had Greenland. That is a false equivalency. But the point is, it's proximity to the United States. It's the population. It's the fact that they're already under this really, see, if we had a good relationship with Denmark, it would make sense for everyone involved for us to do maybe even a three-way deal with both Greenland and Denmark, to where we commit, we're going to buy Greenland from Denmark. We would buy Greenland from Denmark for whatever the amount, 30 billion, 50 billion, whatever it is. And that's a lot in terms of, you look at Denmark's GDP, that would be a big boom for them. Actually, I don't know if it'd be a big boom for them, but it wouldn't even just be the 30 or 50 billion. We could also offer them a certain percentage of rare earth extraction, whether it's 1%, 2%, whatever, and, with that deal. And then we would also do a deal with Greenland at the same time, to where we would offer certain assurances, life quality improvements, higher paying jobs. The mining infrastructure would be all far away along the coasts, although, along like the eastern side and the western side where there's no populated areas. And maybe also in the south, although that's where kind of the citizens live. But the point is that if we had a better relationship, I mean, this would be done because this is the thing with diplomacy. It would make way more sense for the United States to control Greenland. There's no doubt about it. Now, whether or not it's necessary, you can argue that, right? It's not like China, because of where Greenland is located, it's not like China is going to be invading Greenland or anything like that. The point is based off of, and this is just for the West in general, the West overall is extremely reliant on China for rare earth refinement, for rare earth extraction, for certain precious minerals that Greenland has vast supply of. And so even just for the West in general, we could pitch this as, we want to be independent of China. China is rapidly growing, although recently they've kind of fallen off because of the zero COVID policies, but still, their manufacturing is second to none. And so the point would be, well, listen, for the West, this would be better if we took it over and we had a huge mining operation and we could extract these minerals that right now China has a monopoly over, and we don't have to rely on the Chinese, and we can set up refinement zones, and we can help other Western European countries out in separate deals so they don't have to rely on China for all their rare earths and all the batteries for smartphones and the electric vehicles. And so, you could even pitch it like that. Like, let's utilize this massive glacier island, which is located directly in between, smack dab in the middle of the NATO alliance, for independence from China when it comes to rare earths. They can be pitched like that. But see, they don't want to do that. They just say, well, Trump's this fascist, he's terrible. And so it's important to understand all of this and take it into account. And you've got things like this where it's just like, do we really need to deal with this increased, presence? Yeah, this is part of their campaign to increase the military presence on the island because they're worried and they want to deter the United States. Remember, they had the sled dog teams. They were saying, well, France is going to send troops up. It's all a complete charade. We don't want to fight Denmark. We don't want to fight Greenland. We don't want to fight France. We want the ownership of the island. We want to absorb the island as a territory and then offer great deals to the people of Greenland, to the people of Denmark. This is all diplomacy. This is what would be a great win for Trump. But, Trump has come out and said, well, if we have to take it over with force, we're going to have to do it because it's so important. And so you have to take that into account as well. So, I mean, listen, we'll see what happens, but it would be very unpopular if Trump decided to try and take it by force. I mean, he would take it because there's no military, but, it would just be unpopular because there's no way they enact Article 5. It's a proxy and it doesn't, I mean, we're part of NATO. We are NATO. You're not going to go against Daddy. And they now call and they say the nickname, Trump is the daddy. The United States is the daddy. So give Daddy Greenland. And that's the point that Trump is making. What if Trump just tweeted out, Daddy wants Greenland? Imagine. That would be a big one, right? No, they would say, you can't do that. It's childish and whatever. And I want Trump to be presidential in certain aspects. I think he goes a little bit too far, but, that would be something. I mean, they're the ones that called Trump Daddy. So, I mean, like the head of NATO called him that. So, either way, guys, make sure you like the video down below. Also, follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.